Hey, this is Steven from Steven's Classic Garage, and welcome to part 7 or something like that for the HTE Harbor Freight, the Spectrum HTE Black Widow review. So, you're like, Steven, we already seen this teardown video. Well, this is actually a new gun, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of returning this gun, because that's a big component of why I think this gun is worth it. So basically what you do is you take, if the gun could be completely disassembled like so, and you cleaned it. Let's say you cleaned it and you're like, oh, this thing's starting to be gunked up, it's not performing right, I'm going to return it. You go to a Harbor Freight. Now this stuff as of today is selling like hotcakes. So make sure you call ahead of time to make sure that they actually have one available for you to get. Because if they don't have one available, then you're going to go there and they don't have one. So I actually had to go to one on Friday, the one that I bought this the first time. They didn't have any new ones, so I had to go to another one further away the next day to find a place that actually had one. So make sure you call ahead that they have the HTE in stock there before you go, because they're selling like crazy. So once you do that and you find a place to go, just have the box, have your original receipt within, this is how it works, within 90 days of when you originally purchased the product, you could return it, no questions asked, and they'll swap it out. And the no questions asked, that has to do with mainly the two that I went to, no issues. Now, within 90 days, you could swap it out, no questions asked, no cost to you. Now, if you buy the extended warranty for the 1 year or 2 year, and it's after that 90-day period, what happens is you could go and you could exchange the gun, but your warranty disappears. So then you have to buy the warranty, the $25 warranty for the year or the 2 years. So that's what you would have to do. So after 90 days, you could replace it, and for the cost of half of a nozzle needle air cap assembly, you could swap it out, which I think is amazing. For half the cost of a nozzle, a needle, and air cap assembly, you could get a brand new gun, right? A gun that's never been used before and shoots like it was brand new. So that's why I think this is one of the best guns for beginners and intermediates that are getting started in painting. Because anything ever happens to the gun, you just return it and you get a brand new one, no questions asked. It could cost you as much as $25 to get a brand new one, which I think is amazing. So what actually happened this time when I went is they now have a $50 code for this gun. They used to only have it for the HVLP. So what the lady did is she applied the $50. She upgraded me to 2 years. So now I have a 2-year warranty on it. And I was able to get this push broom, this $15 push broom from Harbor Freight, because ours is bent. And they covered that, as well as now they owe me $2. So I exchanged it and I got a free push broom, a 2-year warranty, and now they owe me $2. So now you can get this gun for $149.99 if you find the code, which I suggest you go find the code. I think the gun is an absolute steal for that price. So obviously in this video we're going to talk a little bit about their quality control and what their guns are like if you return them. Are they pretty consistent, and what is the deal with that? So here the gun body looks very, very similar. Here you can see my swivel at the bottom. Gun is very consistent here with this new one. No anodization issues on the outside that I could see. Gun is very, very, so it looks like they have that very, very consistent. Trigger, very, very consistent coating. And it looks like it doesn't have that popping. Oh yeah, it does. It still has that issue. It still has that movement issue with this pin, so that's still the same. But that's okay, so that's still the same. You could still see that in here, that anodization missing there at the top pin, that still is an issue, where the anodization right there is a little light. Again, generally there's no fluid that ends up in there, so that's not really that big of an issue, so that's okay. And I've already proceeded to clean this guy a little bit. I didn't clean back in here with the threads. The threads are still lubed, so there the threads will stay okay. So that should be okay as long as you don't touch your needle into that. The nozzle stuff, this actually feels looser than my first one. But again, same issue with the front. This nozzle is way too tight. And you can see again, to take it off, I probably mushroomed it as much, if not more, than my first one. Because Harbor Freight, you got to fix this. Harbor Freight, Spectrum, whoever your manufacturer is, you need to talk to them about not screwing these nozzles in so tight, because they're very, very difficult to get off. What I actually had to do is I had to wrap a rag around this gun and put it in the vise in order to get enough leverage to take this off with the included wrench. And another thing is that this included wrench, which these guys also need to work on, this wrench is amazing. I love it. I love how it pries. I love how it has all the options, most of which are completely irrelevant for this gun. But if you're gonna have it for this gun, make sure there's not so much play in this, because that's what it's going to do, is it's going to round the edges off. That's why you have that issue. So they should definitely work on that. So same deal here, they still tighten it just as tight, so they are efficient as far as that issue. So they are consistent as far as that issue. Everything's included here, nothing's missing. Air cap on the inside still looks like it kind of has those burrs. And this one I've shaken with acetone, so if you see any sort of residue, that's because I shook it with acetone. And so that's just acetone that's dried. And now you can see I have a smooth surface again, because like I said, I returned my old one, so this is a new one. Now on the inside of the air cap, on the inside of the lock ring, same issue here. So we actually have two issues now. We have one here where the anodization is missing, and another small one there where the anodization is missing. So now we have two issues on the lock ring. So that's pretty consistent. That I don't know, they hold it there, or they're doing something. They're holding it there while it's being anodized, and that's causing issues. But other than that, everything on the inside still looks good. Amazing quality. Now the other thing is the nozzle. So like I said, here the finish is just as good as the last one on the inside. The machine marks are still there, but they're nice and tight, and lathe marks, you know, the standard lathe marks. And then it's shiny. It's starting to distort the light, so that's a good finish there. So again, the only issue I have mainly with this nozzle is that it's too tight out of the factory. Now the other issue we had was the inside bore here. The inside bore here, there is some deep gashes on the side, but there is nothing protruding out like the other one. So I'm going to say that this nozzle is machined a little bit better, maybe like a half a point better. I would say it's an 8 out of 10, maybe a point better. So instead of a 7 out of 10, probably 8 out of 10. But really, that inside bore, if Harbor Freight could fix that, this would be a knockout. This part would be perfect. Obviously, if they also fix how tight it is. So they need to ream that hole. I mean, again, it's probably not that big of an issue, but newbies are going to look at that and say, hey, that finish is not nice. Which, indeed, it is not nice. But will it have much impact on fluid flow? Probably not, because, again, this orifice is very small. It's a 1.3 millimeter orifice, and this is like a 3/8 almost hole. So 1.3 millimeter to 3/8, that's a way bigger hole than this. So the flow rate here is probably not going to cause an issue flowing through this hole here. So other than that, air cap, the top side, just as good, if not better. The inside, couple burrs like I was saying earlier, couple burrs there. The diffuser, pretty much same deal, pretty much identical. Lock ring here, anodization is good, spring's good. You can see a little bit of lube there to lube up the threads. So I mean, they're very consistent. They're very consistent. It looks like on these guns. Of course, this is only 2 sample points here, but with these 2 sample points, I'm going to say that they are very consistent. Ooh, we have a gouge here. We have a gouge there, gouge there on this, but not, you know, not somewhere that it's really necessary to be that bad. So it looks like they machine it to a pretty consistent quality. Now that is down to $149 instead of $149 instead of $200. I think it is a amazing deal. And now for that $200, you could basically get a 2-year warranty, and you run this gun to the end of that 2-year warranty, and then go ahead and return it at the end of that 2-year and sell it as brand new, and buy another gun, basically buy their newest gun, Harbor Freight's newest gun, or buy a different gun. So let's say